Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and this is the Frontline Changes report for the past 24 to 36 hours. So for the past 1.5 days. And we have quite a number of very crazy frontline change. So, we're going to jump straight into it. And the first thing first is over at the Kursk front. So over at the Kursk front, we have some super crazy major geolocation. Russian forces have retaken the position, the border crossing over at SUDZHA. So the SUDZHA border crossing is now under Russian control. They have raised the Russian flag in that region. And based on the geography, we can ascertain that the Russian forces basically have captured all of these areas here. Because in order to be here, all of this area must be under Russian control, which means the Russian forces have captured a massive amount of ground in Kursk, including some of this open ground should be under Russian fire control due to the Russian capture of Novenki and strong position at Basivka. So this is one massive of a straight line. Oleshnya is probably or possibly still under Ukrainian control, so there is no confirmation there yet of Russian capture unless we have geolocation to confirm that. Otherwise, the Russian forces basically have returned return control of the border crossing. Very major update. This marks almost coming to the end of the Kursk adventure. The entire Kursk operation is basically at the very end point right now, and this also confirms our this should be red right now. Confirm our hypothesis because we have the reports of the burning of the meter, the gas meter over here. So this gas pipeline metering station was exploded. Of course, both sides blame each other. Clearly, the sensible thing is that the Russians, of course, bomb their own shit, right? That's the most sensible thing because that's what the West like to believe. But of course, I did say that that is a sign that the Ukrainians are withdrawing. Because they no longer need their position, so they blow it up. And yeah, so we clearly see the result of it. The Russians are back over at the border crossing, which is just next door. So very serious frontline change. The distance along the road that the Russians have retaken is around 5 kilometers. So this is a very big advance. And clearly the Ukrainians have just abandoned their position. So and also there's a geolocation of Russian forces over on the west of Milovoy, and of course this leads to the capture of this area, which then stretches up all the way to the SUDZHA border crossing. Because with the help of this geolocation, we can confirm that the line is actually pretty straight in this sector. So that's all from the Kursk front. The next frontline change, we jump to Katerinivka. So this one is over at the Lyman front. So this is also pretty big. This is also some very big frontline change in the northern sector of the Lyman front. So Lyman is over here. This is Lyman. Lyman is here. So in the northern sector of this frontline change is pretty significant. First, we have the geolocation of Russian forces over towards Norway. This confirms the Russian advance in this sector. I think I need to zoom in a bit so you just know where the locations are. So by the way, Katerinivka is here, Norway is here. So I need to zoom down, push down a bit. So this geolocation of Russian forces at the entrenchment confirmed that the Russians have advanced in this sector because you need all of these areas here in order to be here. So the Russian forces have advanced greatly towards the Norway. And Ukrainian mapping also updated their map and showed that the Russians actually advanced down this side of these oblast borders between Donetsk and Lugansk, and the Russian forces basically have also advanced from the other side. And for this direction, this is heading towards Katerinivka. Over here is moving towards Katerinivka. This one is moving towards Norway. And if you take both into account, there's a high possibility that the Russian front line actually may look something like this, with a massive advance across both sides. This chunky advance is almost 4 kilometers thick. It's pretty thick, very thick. And the advance here is around 3 kilometers. I believe the other side is probably also around 3 kilometers. Yes, it's coming to 3 kilometers. So these are all very, very huge frontline changes over in the Lyman front, in the northern flank of the Lyman front, as the Russian forces push towards Norway and Katerinivka. So significance, very, very, very massive. These are all massive frontline change. So the title clearly I'm going to put the word massive. This is massive. From the context, no of a 24-hour change, it is massive. Over in the Terny region, also still in the Lyman front, Ukrainian mapping said that the Russians are advanced in Terny, but they are mapping lags behind geolocation, so it doesn't change our mapping. However, what we do have is the Russian forces advancing in the southeast of Yampolivka, so some slight change in this area here, in the southeast of Yampolivka, so that's pretty good. And also in the situation report, I was wondering where is Myrny. Apparently it's here in this tiny little town of Myrny. So the Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of this place. So I have corrected where the icon is. So thank you for the person who commented that told me this. I forgot the name. I'm so sorry because I read too many comments. But yeah, this is one of them. So Myrny is very tiny. I just want to show you how tiny it is. It's basically a junction. There's only a few buildings here. So this is a very tiny place. But yeah, the Russians still call it the capture. So after Yampolivka, the next front line change, we jump all the way to the Thorax front. So over at Thorax, this is a very interesting one. So at the north, I'm not even sure this is called northwest, but northwest of Thorax city, where the battle is still ongoing, there is geolocation of Russian forces basically at this area here. This is way out of where the previous front line is, and basically right at the north of Shebenivka. The Russian forces basically have advanced in this sector, and this is interesting. However, in the geolocation by Crimean Caprice, they did note that the event of this geolocation might happen in the second half of February or March 19. They are still trying to figure out the timing, the date of the geolocation of that video. But this shows the Russians did advance, whatever it is, they did advance at least 2 weeks ago, or maybe a month ago. Whatever it is, we also still based on geolocation, so this is still pretty significant. We will put it as it is. It's a capture for now because it's a geolocation. But if there's further information to invalidate it, I will be happy to map it in. But tentatively, this looks very, very bad for the Ukrainian forces. But whether the Russians could hold the positions around here remains to be seen. Anyway, the Thorax city generally is a massive flux of chaos. We do not know what the hell is happening. No one really have any ideas. The Russians and the Ukrainians, both sources say that the situation is very fluid. There is squads of forces from both sides all over the town, over the city. So it's very, very complicated, the situation in that sector. So the fierce battle continues, but at least we have this geolocation, at least confirms that the Russians seems to have a pretty strong position in the northwest of Thorax. So that's all from Thorax. This advance, by the way, is around 1.4 kilometers, and at least around 1.3, 1.4 kilometers. So that's all from Thorax. The next frontline change, or Thorax or Skrebinivka. The next frontline change is at Pischany. So Pischany is over the Pokrov front. This is Pokrov. And over at Pischany, there is Ukrainian mapping, Deep State UA map that the Russian forces have recaptured a bit of the street of the town. So I need to zoom in. So this street here is now under Russian control again. So the battle for this tiny little village continues with a very close battle for this small little flattened town. Battle is still ongoing. And nearby at Kotline, Ukrainian mapping have claimed to have taken back more of Kotline. So despite that, all the reports always say the Russians are attacking, Ukrainian mapping continue to say that the Ukrainians are having success. So it is a bit funny how it goes, but that's the nature of this war. Both the Russians and the Ukrainians both only talks about Russian attacks. They both don't talk about Ukrainian attacks, which is very weird. So that's the nature of what it is. So even if the Ukrainians are on the offensive at Kotline, most often than not, we're going to see the reports from the both defense ministries saying that the Russians are the one attacking at Kotline. So that's it. And there's one last frontline change. So it's over at Venipole, over at the Velikan Nova Circle front. This Velikan Nova Circle. So over at Venipole is over here. Venipole, the Russian forces from Privone continue to advance into Venipole. This time around, the geolocation is a bit more deeper than previously. Previously, the geolocation was around here. This time around, the Russians have advanced deeper into Venipole, capturing more buildings around this small little town as well. So the advance is around maybe 200-300 meters. So so that's the frontline change over at Venipole. So these are all the frontline changes. So we're going to go into the calculation of the frontline changes. As you can see, the biggest frontline change clearly is Kursk because of the entire abandonment of the front by the Ukrainian forces at this the Kursk front. This is basically not a military victory over the past 24 hours, but it's simply the Ukrainians abandoning the position because the battle is lost. So they just retreated out rather than fight on. I'm quite sure they have fight on quite a bit, but they know that it's a pointless. They can't reinforce the forces that is holding the front line, so they have left. So it is a military victory, but it's not a battle. No, it's not like they overrun the Ukrainian positions. There's no Ukrainian positions anymore here, so Ukrainians have withdrawn. So of course, the next big one is over at Lyman front because of the big push into towards Katerinivka and Norway. So this is the big ones. So we're gonna put the background over at Kursk front because we are going to say goodbye to this front line pretty soon. So no nostalgic moments. No, don't cry. It's okay. No, it's okay. Don't cry. And for those having birthday today, you're allowed to cry because happy birthday to you. And also we're going to do some calculation. So 44.05 plus 6.74 plus 1.18 plus 0.03 plus 0.05. So total area captured by the Russian forces is 52.05 square kilometers. A massive capture. But if you take away the Kursk front, that is actually below 10. So it's not that big then. If you take away Kursk. Because Kursk is an unusual situation because the Ukrainians basically abandoned their position. So otherwise, the Ukrainians only have one area that they have captured or claim to have captured, which is over at Kotline. This contributes to 0.55 square kilometers. So anyway, that's it. So thank you for watching. Do press the like button, subscribe. And also there's one more thing over at the DPA channel. So on the main channel, the DPA's main channel, I have actually break down all these playlists. So there is playlists for every few months in the Ukraine war. So this is easier for you to rewatch some of the previous the archives of my reporting on the Ukraine war rather than put everything in one folder, which is impossible to watch because it's thousands of videos. So now breaking into 3 months, you can see that every 3 months there is a few, like maybe up to 100, sometimes it's 1-200 depending on the timing, because some of the reporting have been spread to DPA war, and all of these Ukraine war videos are all unlisted. You're no longer going to see this on the video tab. You're not going to see it here anymore, those earlier ones. So this just some administration note. This is to reduce YouTube pushing people to watch very old outdated videos. So that's the plan. So everything is unlisted and then put into the playlist. So a lot of the videos are all there. So which is why the video numbers have reduced by quite a bit to only 282 videos. If not, it's going to be in the thousands. And also check out the bizarre video. So the link is over here. Check it out. This is my comments on the Signal chat group Intel leak. So I see you guys in the next update. Bye guys.